We have made it to the final lesson of this class. This is our final perspective lesson as well. For this class, we're going to do two projects. The first one, we're going to do perspective drawing flying cubes. And I've created one video for that part of the class. And then I've created another video for the second part of the class, which is creating a cityscape in perspective. So now that you have a good idea of making a drawing where, using perspective, I hope you enjoy these two final activities. For our first activity, we are going to create our flying cubes. So for this project, you will need a ruler, a piece of paper, and a pencil. To start, we are going to draw our horizon line about midway in the paper. Doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to measure this part. So try to get it about halfway from top to bottom. Line your ruler up with the edge of your paper because this is a straight edge. Your paper is a straight edge. That'll allow you to get a straight horizon line. And I'm going to make mine dark enough for you to see it on the camera. You don't have to make yours that dark. Now, I am going to put my vanishing point in the center this time. So I'm going to measure my center. On my horizon line, I'm going to mark 5.5 inches because my paper is 11 inches long. So I'll put my vanishing point right there at 5.5 inches. So there's my vanishing point. So now I have my horizon line, my vanishing point, my sky, and then my ground plane. So for this activity, we are going to draw 6 squares or rectangles. We're going to put 3 above the horizon line and 3 below the horizon line. For these shapes, you have to make sure that your lines are horizontal and parallel to your horizon line and vertical and parallel to the edge of your paper. So we're going to use our ruler to do that. So I'm going to put my first shapes, my 3 first ones, across the top of my paper. So I'm going to line my ruler up with the edge of my paper to make sure that my line is straight and parallel to my horizon line. The size of your shapes does not matter. You could make them 1 inch square, you could make it 1/2 inch. That's up to you. So that's the top of my shape. Now I'm going to line my ruler up with the top of my paper again to draw my side. We want it parallel to the edge of our paper. So I'm going to come down as far as I'd like, and I'm going to do that on the other side as well. Lining my ruler up to the top of my paper and measuring down. So there's 3 sides of my shape. These 2 lines are parallel, and this line is parallel to my horizon line. Now I'm going to come in and do the bottom of my drawing of my shape, lining my ruler up to the edge of the paper and making my bottom vertical line, bottom horizontal line. So there's my first shape. Top and bottom lines are parallel and side lines are parallel. Now I'm going to come and make another shape anywhere on the top of my paper, lining my ruler up and drawing the first side of my shape. And I'm going to come over and draw the other side of my shape. Now I'm going to draw the top and bottom, lining my ruler up with the edge of my paper so that my line is parallel to my horizon line and this line as well. Now you can erase those little extra lines. So there's my second shape. And now I'm going to add my third shape above my horizon line. So I'm going to line my ruler up with the top of my paper to make sure that this line is straight and parallel to the edge. And I'm going to come over and do the same for the other side. So there's my two sides that are parallel and vertical. Then I'm going to do the top and bottom of my shape. So I'm going to line my ruler up with the edge of my paper so I get a straight line that is parallel with my horizon line. And do the same thing for the top. So there are my three shapes on the top of my paper. Now I'm going to do the same thing below my horizon line for my other three shapes. Now I have my 6 shapes drawn. 3 on the top, 3 on the bottom. So from here, I'm going to draw my orthogonal lines. I'm going to draw my lines from my vanishing point to each of the corners of each of my shapes. So for this one, I will draw an orthogonal line from here, and I'm going to connect to my vanishing point, and I'm going to do a light line this time. It's my guideline, and I'm just going to go straight across all the way to the edge of my paper. And I'm going to do the same thing from this corner to my vanishing point. So I'm adding all of my orthogonal lines now. I'm going to do the same thing here with the bottom corner. And I'm going to do the same thing from the other bottom corner. So I have drawn all of my orthogonal lines for this shape, connecting each of my corners to my vanishing point. So I'm going to do that for each of my other shapes. So now that I've done it on my bottom, I'm going to do it on my top. So now my orthogonal lines will go from my vanishing point into the sky. All of my orthogonal lines are drawn now. So now I'm going to go and do my horizontal and vertical lines on each of my shapes to show that they are three-dimensional and to show that they are going towards my vanishing point. So if we're standing here and we're looking at the vanishing point, we are going to see this side of this shape and the top of this shape. On this one, we will see the bottom and this top, and we'll see the side and this top. So if we're still standing here, when we go to the ones above our horizon line, we will see the bottom of this shape, the bottom of this shape, the bottom of this shape, and this side, and this side. So now we will make our horizontal and vertical lines to finish the shapes. So for this shape, I will make my vertical line that is parallel to this line from this corner's orthogonal line to this corner's orthogonal line. And I'm going to come out to about right here to make this one. And I'm going to line my ruler up with the bottom of my paper to make sure that my line is straight, because we want them to be straight and parallel. And I'm just going to draw my line from this orthogonal line to this orthogonal line. Then I'm going to come across from the top to make the top of my shape. So I'm going to make it from this orthogonal line to this orthogonal line. Oops. And I'm going to line up my ruler with the edge of my paper. and draw my horizontal line that is parallel to this line and to my horizon. So now I have this shape right here. And I'm going to do the same thing with each of my shapes. So I will draw my vertical line from this orthogonal line to this orthogonal line. And I'm going to start my side about right here. So I'm going to line my ruler up at the bottom of my paper so that I can make it a straight vertical line that is parallel with this line. So this line, and this line are parallel. And then I'm going to go from this orthogonal line to this orthogonal line and draw the horizontal line that is parallel to my horizon line and parallel to the top of this shape. So this line, this line, this line, and our horizon line are parallel. And I'm going to do the same thing with this shape. So I am lining up my ruler with this bottom corner's orthogonal line, and I'm going to connect it to this top corner's orthogonal line. And that's the back of this shape. Vertical line parallel to this vertical line. And then I'm going to connect my two top corners orthogonal lines. So I'm going to put my pencil here, and I'm going to create a horizontal line that is parallel with the top of the shape that ends on the orthogonal line that connects to this top corner. This line, and this line are parallel to our horizon line. Now to do the top ones, again, we're going to see the bottoms of these shapes because we're looking up at them. So I'm going to start with this shape, and there's not a lot of bottom on this shape because this shape is almost on our horizon line. But that's okay. We're still going to show our line. I'm going to make this shape a very long shape. So I'm going to connect this orthogonal line and this orthogonal line. And this line is going to be a vertical, vertical line. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to line my ruler up at the bottom of my paper to make sure that it's a vertical line that's parallel. And I'm just going to put a little line. No, sorry, that's the wrong direction. This one is going to be horizontal. So we have to make this one horizontal to this one and parallel to this one. I'm sorry. So line my ruler up on the side of my paper and connect them that way. Yes. So that's our horizontal line for the bottom of this shape. It's easy to get confused. I know, I just got confused. It's okay. Just bear with me. So we're going to do a vertical line now and connect this, the top one, not the bottom one. We're going to go all the way to this side because we're going to the closest point to our horizon or vertical vanishing point. This one is going to be vertical and parallel to the side right here. And it's going to connect to the top corner orthogonal line. So now we have our horizontal bottom and our vertical side. Okay, so now we're going to come to this shape. And I'll show you how to draw the rest of the shape in just a minute. Let's finish our vertical and horizontal lines on the last two shapes. So we're looking at the bottom of this one. So we're connecting the bottom two corners of this one in a horizontal line. So I'm going to come down this orthogonal line, and I have to make sure I'm getting the right one. So this one right here goes to, it's this one. Because see how they run together right there? And it gets a little confusing, but that's okay as long as you're close enough. So there's my point. So it's this line right here. Line my ruler up at the edge of my paper and do a horizontal line to the bottom corner over here's orthogonal line. So now I have the bottom of this shape. and this line and this line and this line are horizontal. So now I'm going to do my vertical line from this point on this orthogonal line to that point on this orthogonal line that connects to this top corner. So this is going to be a vertical line that's parallel to the side of our shape. And it's going to connect right there. So parallel with this one and this one. I'm going to do the same thing with this shape. And I'm going to make this shape shorter. So I'm going to start my line here on this corner's orthogonal line, right about there. And I'm going to make this line horizontal and parallel to my horizon line. So there's the bottom line. It's parallel to this one. And then I'm going to make the side of my building or shape connect to this orthogonal line that connects to that top corner. And this is going to be a vertical line that is parallel to the side of our shape. So this line and this line are parallel. So now we have the back of all of our shapes. So now we're going to come back in, and I'm going to use an ink pen to trace them so that you can see exactly what I'm doing so that it shows up. And I'm going to trace the orthogonal lines and the rest of the shape. So for this one, I'm going to trace this orthogonal line from this corner to that corner because we are seeing the bottom of that shape. I'm going to trace this orthogonal line from this corner to this corner. And I'm going to trace this top orthogonal line because these are the three edges of this shape that we are going to see. And then I'll just trace the rest of the shape. So now we have a floating cube. We have the surface that is facing us, and we have the side of it that we would see going towards the horizon. The horizon to the vanishing point, the horizon, combining my two words together. So I'm going to trace all of my lines for the rest of my shapes. So this line and this line connect. So that's that orthogonal line, and this one and this corner connect. That's that orthogonal line. This point and this point connect, and that's that orthogonal line. So then I'm going to connect those 2 points, and I'm going to connect these 2 corners to trace my shape. And the bottom one. So we are looking at the bottom of our shape. And I'm going to continue that for the rest of my shapes. So now we have completed our first project, our Flying Cubes project. We have drawn the front of each of our objects, which is the flat plane, and then we have extended them to our vanishing point on our horizon. You guys can now turn these shapes into something. This could be a cereal box or a book. You can draw and add if you want to be creative. If not, you finish the project and we will move on to our final project.